Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly Live for October 27th, 2024. I'm Peggy Kay, and today there are updates for YouTube Shorts, YouTube monetization. There are new features on Canva. There's an update to Google Photos and some social media updates. So let's get started. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody who's here live. It's good to see you. I'd love to know, are you planning to do anything for Halloween this year? I'm not really a costume person, but I love, having the trick-or-treaters coming to the house. I'm kind of looking forward to that. But I wanted to mention that because one of the things that all the big tech companies do is, of course, offer Halloween images and backgrounds and Easter eggs and stuff. Halloween Easter egg, I'm not sure if that's a thing. But anyway, just wanted to share Google Meet is one of the products that has cool Halloween updates. I really like this year's. They're very, very spooky. You can see um, this is the one of the neat backgrounds that we're seeing this year. Very, very realistic looking. There's also a fun sort of Halloween at the gates. And one of the things that I also like is the ability to kind of join in with other creators. And this year there are some standard hashtags. On YouTube, it seems like people are using the Halloween with shorts hashtag a lot, although there's some spammy stuff if you look at the hashtag. But if you want to kind of join in, you can do that. And then if you go over to TikTok, they have a whole page of Halloween related hashtags and so forth. So you can kind of join in the fun. And if the spirit takes you, you can make a short. Otherwise, you can kind of check out what other people are creating. Honestly, I mostly watch what other people are doing, making cool costumes and fun, Halloween treats kind of thing. I've been watching the Halloween competition on the Food Network because people are really creative. Doesn't actually inspire me to do anything other than watch, but I kind of like it. I want to say hi to Craig and Andrew and Braylon and Jolyn in the chat. It's great to see you here. And let me know if you're doing anything fun for Halloween or what you think about this week's updates, which aren't all Halloween related, of course. The first update I wanted to talk about has to do with YouTube Shorts. So let me switch gears here. All right. The big update to YouTube Shorts this week is that you can add a poll. I think this maybe isn't available until this coming week, so you may not be able to see it today. But the idea is that when you're in the YouTube Shorts editor, you have options to add stickers. And these are stickers that promote engagement with your shorts. You can do a Q&A. You can say, add yours. So encouraging people to make similar shorts, or you can now add a poll. And when you add the poll as the creator, you'll be able to see the total number of votes and the percentages of how people voted. So that's kind of a fun update that's happening. And if you're in the shorts feed, you should sometimes see that and you can kind of just tap on it to vote. I will note that this is only possible to add through the YouTube mobile shorts editor. And that currently is still limited to 1 minute shorts. So you won't be able to create a longer short with these stickers, at least not yet. And let me shift over to another YouTube update. Looking at the chat, Andrew says, just wait, and they will also add dancers. Dancers are always welcome. If you want to dance, Andrew, I'm sure people would watch. So the next update I want to talk about is for YouTube creators. If you are in the YouTube Partner Program and you are monetizing the watch page with ad revenue sharing, you can now manage which categories of ads are allowed to appear on your channel. And the default is to allow everything, but you can go into your settings and limit certain categories of ads. And I will add, this is not a new feature. This has always been possible inside your AdSense account. But what YouTube has done is move those settings so now you can access them inside YouTube Studio on desktop. Makes a lot of sense, right? I suspect a lot of people didn't even know those settings existed over on AdSense. So what you can do is you go into YouTube Studio and click the settings on the left side. If you are monetizing, you will see an ad categories setting option in the settings. You go there, and then there's two categories of categories. The first is sensitive categories, and the other is general. There's actually a lot of controls there. You could block home improvement ads. You could block any kind of ads. If you're monetizing, I recommend you check it out. Now, personally, in the sensitive categories, I am blocking alcohol ads, gambling ads, get-rich-quick ads, and weight loss ads, because a lot of those are pretty scammy. So go in and you can have control over what types of ads appear on your content. They do note that if you block any categories, that can reduce your revenue, because it may be the best paying ad is a get-rich-quick ad. So if you don't have that there, you can't get those earnings. But you need to decide what you want to allow. And just to be clear, this does not affect the ads you see on other channels. This is just controlling the ads that appear with your content. And if you see people complaining, oh, I hate this kind of ad appearing on my channel, you can tell them to go into those settings, assuming that they are monetizing. So those are the two YouTube updates for this week. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. This week, Canva announced a bunch of updates. They call it Droptober, because they drop new updates. A lot of these are generative AI based, but not all of them. And I just wanted to highlight a couple that I thought were particularly interesting. The first is that they have updated their text to image generator. This is now powered by Leonardo AI's Phoenix model. Now, Leonardo AI was acquired by Canva last July. So this is using that asset. I believe it is based on Stable Diffusion. So the issue with that is that it's trained on this public set of data. So it was basically meant for research purposes, where it went out and scraped the entire internet. You may have ethical concerns with that. And the other issue, of course, is that it can return images that may be infringing people's trademarks or copyright. You just don't know. So I'm not sure it's necessarily safe for commercial use. Adobe makes a big point of saying its Firefly model was ethically trained and commercially safe. So um, that is something you want to keep in mind. The next thing I wanted to mention is something that I think is really pretty cool. Automated captions that you can style. So you've probably seen a lot of shorter videos in particular where there are captions animated on the screen. This is being added. You can edit the text yourself and set it to whatever font and size you want. This is apparently not rolled out yet. I checked and it should be rolling out. One thing that they didn't make clear in their announcements are which of these features are available to free accounts, which of them require a paid account, or the type of paid account. So you'll have to just check your Canva account to see if it's available to you. I'm hoping I have access to the automated captions because I think that's really great for accessibility. And then the other update I wanted to talk about is integration with Google Workspace. Yeah. So Jolyn says, Canva integration with Google Workspace? Really? Yes, really. Um, the idea is that they want Canva to be useful for businesses to use. So there's a bunch of integrations with other platforms, including Google Workspace. I'm showing here the Canva app for Google Workspace Marketplace. Now, Google Workspace Marketplace is owned by Google. You go into the Workspace Marketplace, you'll see a whole bunch of third-party apps that you can install. These integrate with Google Workspace apps like Google Docs and Gmail and Calendar and Slides and all those. And the idea is that you install this third-party app, you sign into that account, and then you can easily access the content back and forth. Now, I will say that I tried to install the Canva app from Google Workspace Marketplace, and I got this big error screen. It says, this app is blocked. This app tried to access sensitive info on your Google account. To keep your account safe, Google blocked this access. I see that the app was updated the last week of September. That something must have changed. Hopefully they fix that. So at least I'm not able to install this integration now. But one of the things that you can do supposedly is, basically access the creations you made in Canva in these other apps. And if you're in Google Docs, it can make a smart chip if you have a link to Canva. It's supposed to be better for business, but I think it's useful if you're both a Google Workspace user and a Canva user. So one of the things that I also like is integrations with third-party services like Zapier, uh, also Make and Workato. These allow you to basically program actions. If you do this one thing, then something else happens and connect different apps. So that's also possible with Canva now. They say they also have integrations with Hootsuite, which allows you to manage posting to social media, and MailChimp, which is for mailing lists. The whole idea is that you have to do less switching between different platforms. Instead of having to download things and re-upload them, you can just link to them directly. It's also possible, I'm pretty sure, from inside Canva, you can access your Google Photos if you connect it from inside Canva. So if you want to use Canva to modify your photos or use those photos in Canva layouts, you can just connect directly. Again, it just saves you some steps. You don't have to download and then re-upload. Jolyn says, I'll check it out and let you know if you can get it. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear if anyone else can do it. I tried it with a couple of different Google accounts, including a Google Workspace business account, and I got the same error. So I don't know what is causing that. And it may be that Canva has to adjust what permissions it requests when you link your accounts. I'm sure somebody there knows about it and is on it. So there's just a couple more updates I wanted to talk about. The next one, if you're using Threads, they have a new page for creators. You go there and it basically gives you a good rundown of all the different Threads features, how to manage comments. So it's useful if you're using that platform. And I think it's just a sign that Meta is trying to encourage more creators onto the platform. We'll see how that goes. It's been kind of weird because Threads is technically part of Instagram, but it's so totally different because Instagram, of course, is photos and videos, and Threads is text posting, kind of Twitter-like. Those things don't go together, so they've tried to get people who are really popular on Instagram to start using Threads, but it's not necessarily a good match because it's a totally different kind of posting. And Threads has these really oversensitive moderation bots, almost certainly automated. Some people this week were pointing out that if they said the word Nazi, wrote that, their post would be suspended. That's even if you say, I hate Nazis, or this is, a bad thing. This is obviously broken. It may be that in the run-up to the US elections, they've kind of tweaked their moderation to be the most sensitive possible, but I think it's frustrating for people, especially people who share information about the news and what's happening in the world, which is not always good stuff. So the other thing that's new in Threads this week is that you can get the analytics for your account, the stats in the mobile app. That's been available on desktop for a while, but Insights is now available on mobile as well. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is an update to Google Photos, where they are now going to show metadata about whether images were AI edited. So I will just do a close-up from the announcement. If you go into Google Photos, you can get info about the photo that shows the metadata, the time and date it was taken, where the photo was taken, that sort of thing. Now this will have information that says it was edited with generative AI tools. This is supposedly detecting photos that use very standard metadata from the International Press Telecommunications Council, which is just called IPTC. And Google is part of this, where they want to have standardized metadata about AI modifications. So if you use the Google Photos AI tools, this is like Magic Eraser or Zoom Enhance, that will now show in the metadata, in the info for that photo. And I think presumably if you're uploading a photo from another source that has this metadata, it will also show that. The biggest problem with all this, of course, is that it's easy to bypass. You can, I think this kind of metadata you maybe can edit. I know there's some kinds of metadata where you edit and it actually kind of integrates all this data into the image itself in a way that's invisible to people. But I don't think this is that kind of metadata. So you could take a screenshot of the photo and then it's no more metadata there. I think there's really, really a problem these days where there isn't a good way for any platform to know if an image has been edited. And we're focusing on generative AI tools because you can make big edits really easily that way. Of course, you can edit these things manually as well. It's the same kind of problem. People aren't necessarily good at telling whether an image has been edited, even when it's obviously AI generated. Sometimes people don't realize that. So it's not clear how any platform is going to handle this. I think it's interesting. We talked a little bit last week about YouTube now detecting special metadata on videos that are straight from the camera. You have to have the right kind of camera, of course, to add the metadata. The idea is that it can label these as being unedited, direct from the camera. And maybe that's where things are going, although I think most photos are edited in some way. Are you tweaking the brightness and the contrast and all those things? You can even make photos that are totally original photos tell a misleading story just by the way the photo is cropped or how the image is angled or all these things. I think photos have also always been able to lie. It's just easier now. So those are the things that I hope platforms are grappling with. Uh, oh, just coming over to the chat, Jolyn says, you got kicked off of Threads for posting an invite to the game show. Yeah, so Threads has this sort of really, really hyper moderation. It's got to be automated by the way it happens so quickly. And I think what's mostly frustrating to people is that they are not transparent about how this works. And so there were problems before. Crackergate is what they talked about because people were talking about crackers you eat, and obviously it was being detected like a slur. That was blamed on human moderators not having their tools working correctly, but it's clear there's automated moderation, and Threads has to grapple with this because it's pissing people off. I know a lot of people are moving to Blue Sky. It's a lot different moderation there. You can kind of control your own moderation there, choose what you want to see. Of course, it's much smaller though, because there's only like 13 million people on Blue Sky going up and like 100 million on Threads. So welcome. I see Sefa. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Good to see you in the live chat. Those are this week's updates. I think we're getting into the season now where we're going to probably see kind of a flurry of updates from Google and all these different platforms as they try and get things out before the end of the year. And then there will be kind of a reprise. Well, they don't try and do things during the holiday season. I will keep you all up to date. And hello, Nina. Good to see you. Immediately after this live chat here, this live stream here, going to be in another live stream over on the eBoard channel. There should be a live redirect when I end the stream here. We're going to be talking about using AI tools to create images. And I think Bob is also going to talk a bit about using it for making your website and social media and so forth. I think it'll be an interesting conversation. So that is the next step. That will start probably about 5 minutes after the hour. So thank you all for joining me today. Remember, you can get all of the updates and links and news in my newsletter or weekly blog post, there is a link in the video description, so check that out. Uh, oh, just a quick message from Andrew. Strict moderation could be used to train all languages to one word, one meaning. That would simplify all languages. 3 generations should be enough to redo humanity. Yeah, I think no. I think the problem is that people are being people, and we play with language, and we change the meanings of language, and language is always evolving, which is why context is so important. And even if it was decreed today, one word, one meaning, which I don't know how you would do that with English, you'd go a few years and people would already be changing the meanings. So, oh, thank you very much, Craig. Yeah, I didn't have as many updates today, so it's a shorter live stream. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you join me over on the On eBoard live stream. That will be starting in about 10 minutes or so. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I see you next Sunday.